Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to Higurashi. So, we have a few more things to do here before we finish up this chapter. I think there was a tip for us, the demon script, that popped up last time. The car began to rattle as the road turned from asphalt to gravel. The cry of the cicadas seeped through the tightly shut windows. Most people would open their car windows and let the natural air in, along with the sounds of the cicadas. But people are also spoiled. He'd rather keep himself cool with the air conditioning turned to max than listen to the sounds of nature. I'm feeling attacked right now. I don't know about you guys. Usually it was the rainy season at this time of year. But this June, the summer had already come without any rain. Just like how the weather was on that day 20 years ago. It's good old Akasaka. I was actually going to mention that I almost can't remember almost anything about Akasaka. I know it was like a little bit where we were rescuing the, what was it, the governor? No, not that. It was something like the ministry, construction ministry guy's grandson got kidnapped and we were rescuing him or something. And then it ended with us trying to figure out, like, what happened, years later or something. Anyway, sorry, just a little bit that I was thinking about the other day.
風光明媚ないい土地です。ひょっとしたら隣の村みたいに世界文化遺産に指定されることもあったかもしれないのに惜しいですね。
そのおかげで観光客がいない。実に快適じゃないか。どうして旅行者ってのは田舎じゃ交通法規を忘れられるんだ。道路いっぱいに横になりやがって。
赤坂先輩はアウトドア今も？
最近はさっぱりだな。何しろ暇のない家業だからな。
それはお互い様です。おー、いたいた。早いな。
The other man noticed and waved his hand before anyone in the car could honk the horn. The man was a young fellow on a motorcycle with a big backpack on his shoulders. He looked like he was ready to go camping. Akasaka and his partner stepped out of the car and shook hands with the young man.
小隊長殿、ご無沙汰いたしております。
おう、今のとこはどうだ？元気にやってるか？今日は楽にしてくれていいぞ。こちらは俺が大学時代に大変お世話になった赤坂先輩だ。
どうも、赤坂です。今日はもう一人大石という者とご一緒するお約束でしたが、直前に検査入院が入ってしまいまして同行できませんでした。
よろしくお願いします。
さて、赤坂先輩、どこから回りますか？
His name was Mamoru Akasaka. He was a veteran detective from the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department. Despite the fact that he was close to his retirement, he hadn't lost his clear instinct and sharp eyes at all. Those eyes showed the confidence he'd built through many risky experiences, and he had a well-built muscular body and a fearless aura. He must have fought against many violent criminals. His connection to Hinamizawa went back almost 30 years, all the way to 1978. He was in the Public Safety Division in the Metropolitan Police Department. He came to Hinamizawa to investigate the kidnapping case of the grandson of Inugai, the then Minister of Construction. There, he met Oishi and Rika Furude. Rika Furude predicted her own death. Akasaka regretted for the rest of his life that he couldn't save that little girl from her fate. He saw the news of the great Hinamizawa disaster on TV and met up again with Oishi. They pledged to uncover the mystery of both the cruel fate that fell upon the little girl and the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa. Unfortunately, Hinamizawa was sealed off for a long time. As a result, all Akasaka and Oishi could do for the past 20 years was publish the little information they'd gathered, and ask for their readers to send their tips and clues. But recently, the seal on Hinamizawa has finally been lifted. However, they couldn't come to Hinamizawa until today, due to Akasaka's busy work schedule and Oishi's poor health. In fact, Oishi was supposed to come with Akasaka, but he was called in for an emergency health checkup. The other two came along were Akasaka's juniors from university. One worked at the ground SDF, and the other was his subordinate. They were assigned the mission of sealing off Hinamizawa, so they were quite knowledgeable about the village. Akasaka took out a scrapbook from his bag. The corners of the scrapbooks were all dented, making it look very old. Akasaka flipped through the pages, thought for a second, and let them know his first destination.
では、鬼ヶ淵沼をお願いします。
了解いたしました。それではご案内いたします。
The young man got on his bike and waited for the others to get back to their car. They honked at each other to signal that they were ready, and the young man led the car to the swamp. Heading through the forest, they came to an open area where the ground was covered by concrete. There wasn't even a single drop of water in sight. All the water of the swamp had been replaced by concrete. Intriguing. That was what Onikafuchi Swamp looked like now.
沼どころか、水たまりもないな。
How are the aliens supposed to get their UFOs out of there now if they're sealed down there?
大災害後のだいぶ初期に埋め立てられたと聞いています。
Okay, fair enough.
自分がここへ着任した時はすでに埋め立てられていました。
ちょっと降りてみよう。
Akasaka got out of the car and walked to the center of the concrete-filled swamp. It wasn't a parking lot or a heliport. It was just a huge empty concrete space right in the middle of the forest.
なるほど。
Now that's weird.
これがネットでよく言う UFO の着陸場というやつか。
Yeah, maybe that's where the UFOs are at.
そんなことを言われてるんですか？
ここの写真がよくミステリー系のサイトに紹介されてるよ。ここで政府と宇宙人が交流してたって言うんだ。確かにこんな森の中にポカンとこんなコンクリートの空き地があれば不審に思うよな。
Volcanic gas erupted from the swamp in June of 1983. The deadly mixture of hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide engulfed and destroyed Hinamizawa in a single night. The village was sealed off and the SDF covered the swamp with concrete.
ネットで騒いでる連中にも連中なりの根拠があるらしい。地質学的に言ってガスの発生源を塞ぐために沼をコンクリートで固めるなんてのは。
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, that even sounds like it could be dangerous. Like it could build up and explode or something? Maybe?
なるほど。確かに活火山の火口をコンクリートで埋めたという話は聞かないですね。でもまあ、税金での無駄な工事は我が国の伝統ですから。
Lately, people who love things like supernatural phenomena and UFOs write on the internet about the Great Hinamizawa disaster. It's well known by now that the cause of the disaster was an eruption of deadly volcanic gas from a magma chamber. In 1986, a similar natural disaster occurred at Lake Nyos in Cameroon, Africa. So people easily believed that such a rare natural disaster could occur anywhere on Earth, and that was what happened in Hinamizawa as well. However, a rumor about another possible explanation had begun to fly around on the internet recently. They say that the disaster was a cover-up by the government, and that it was actually a biochemical terrorist attack by aliens. Why had such a rumor begun to spread now? They claim to back up their theory with a secret document known as File Number 34. Someone online named it File Number 34 for descriptive purposes, but The name spread and stuck since then because it sounded like a government conspiracy. People loved it. It's unknown how or from where they obtained those documents, but they posted scans and pictures which were all ridiculous. Plus, more fake evidence was produced over time, so now even the existence of such documents are in doubt. File number 34 deserves a bit more explanation. However, since it started on the internet, truth and lies were all mixed together, and it has become more like an urban legend. So this is what is believed to be mostly true. File number 34 was a notebook written by a nurse named, Mio Takano, who worked at a local clinic in Hinamizawa. File number 34 was most likely named after her. This woman was a researcher who studied the demon myth of Hinamizawa and tried to solve what it meant. The contents of this notebook state that she prophesied the Great Hinamizawa disaster of 1983. According to her research, a UFO crash-landed in Hinamizawa a long time ago and sunk into the Onigafuchi swamp. The UFO carried parasitic bacteria from space, and they began to infect the locals. The infected villagers began to behave extremely violently, so much so that they were fit for the word demon. Mio Takano insisted that this was the explanation for the myth about demons pouring out of the swamp. An alien who survived the crash realized that the Earthlings had gone crazy because of the bacteria he brought in, and he decided to show himself to the villagers to help them out. This is how Oyashiro-sama was born. The alien was able to cure the villagers with highly advanced technology, but couldn't eradicate the bacteria completely. Since the villagers looked up to the alien as some sort of deity, the alien utilized its status to hand down specific rules to the villagers in order to stabilize the disease. The bacteria took a liking to Hinamizawa's habitat, so when a carrier of the disease left Hinamizawa, their symptoms would re-emerge. Therefore, the alien made it a rule not to leave the village. This leads to the legends of the transcendence of Onigafuchi. The weird practices and miracles that the villagers performed were realized by means of the advanced technology that they received from the alien.
そういうののマニアな人たちはつくづくそういうのが好きですよね。ノストラダムスの大予言だって99年にはあんなに騒いだのに、7月が過ぎたら何事もなかったかのようにみんな過ごしてる。民放もあれだけ煽っておいて無責任たらありゃしない。
でも高野美代は南沢大災害を予見したらしい。それは嘘じゃない。確かにこのスクラップ帳に書いてある。
そんなまさか赤坂先輩、それ本当に
As time passed, the bacteria stabilized in human bodies and became harmless. The alien and the bacteria began to fade away from people's minds. However, the alien has lived on for hundreds of years with the protection of the three families. It still lives on as the spirit of a deity in the secret temple of the Furude Shrine. The alien manipulated the bacteria living inside of the villagers and maintained control over them for hundreds of years. The alien wanted to regain its power and started researching how to bring back the lost powers of the bacteria, etc., etc. Things get much stranger from there. People say that the disaster was actually part of the alien's plan to conquer the entire Earth by spreading the reawakened bacteria. The Japanese government is a secret division that fights against alien invasions, and they trained at Area 51 in the US, etc., etc. And they moved in to stop the invasion by sealing off the entire village, and they killed all the residents by using toxic gas.
映画でそんなのありましたね。なんて言ったっけな。
Am
この
I?
辺まで来ると俺もそろそろめちゃくちゃだなとは思う。ただこのめちゃくちゃを書いた高野美代は昭和58年の6月中旬正体不明の開始を遂げる。そしてその死の直前に自らの死を悟ったかのように村の一人の少女にこのスクラップ帳を預けて意志を託したというんだ。
That girl is known as Girl A. Some guy who investigated the case was able to track it down to a girl named Rena Ryugu. So now it's known as the Rena Ryugu theory on the internet. Rena Ryugu inherited Mio Takano's will by means of the scrapbooks. She tried to fight against the planned invasion by holding a school hostage and demanding the local police uncover the aliens' plot. Of course, no one believed her, and they assumed she was in a state of paranoia. Back then, people assumed that Rena Ryugu took Mio Takano's delusions seriously, and was motivated to commit a poorly executed crime. When she held the school hostage, Rena Ryugu told local police that the alien was controlling the three families, and that it was plotting bioterrorism on a massive scale. And the very next day, the Great Hinamizawa disaster occurred.
まさかそりゃ偶然じゃないんですか。
わからない。偶然ではないと思う連中に言わせるとその後の自衛隊による封鎖はおかしなことだらけらしい。例えばこの沼の埋め立てが一例だ。そして埋め立てる前に明らかに通常の地質調査とは異なる秘密の調査を行っていたとされていた。
How do you like...
当時
How do you cover a
この封鎖に
swamp?
関わっていた自衛隊員たちがそれを何人も証言している。
How do you cover a swamp with concrete? I'm just thinking about that now. Do you, like, just keep pouring it in until it eventually is full? How does that work?
否定派はそれを単にガスの発生地なので危険に備えて立ち入りを制限していただけだと主張するんだがね。
それは多分否定派の言うのが正しいんじゃないかと思いますね。
他にも異常に長かった封鎖期間で疑惑の目が向けられている。近年に起こった離島の火山ガス災害の例を見てもわかるように 4,5 年で立ち入り禁止を解いている。南沢のケースは例外中の例外のケースのはずなのに封鎖は極めて長期に及んだ。
あのケースは島民が祈祷を強く希望したからと聞いています。南沢には帰る人がそもそもいないんだから十分安全が確認できるまでたっぷり期間を置いただけなのでは。
あとこんな話もあるぞ。南沢を封鎖していた自衛隊員たちは定期的に血を抜かれての厳密な検査を受けていたといい、何らかの結果によって自他ともに理解できない理由で任務を解かれることがあったという。それは実は細菌感染の陽性反応を見るもので自衛隊員たちをとどまらせることによる何らかの人体実験だったとささやかれているらしい。
それはやはりガスが湧き出す危険性があっただけに健康管理には気を使ったということでしょう。それに普通のサラリーマンだって年に一度は健康診断を受けその時に血を抜かれてるはずです。
まあ君の言うことももっともだと思う。あともっと面白い話もあるぞ。南沢大災害時に火山ガスは発生していないと主張する連中がいる。
火山ガスは発生していない？どういう意味ですか？
つまりもともと火山ガスなんか噴出してなくてガス災害というのが政府の嘘であると主張しているらしい。洋画の人類と UFO がコンタクトする作品でも同じ設定だったじゃないか。
それこそミステリーマニアのこじつけだと思いますね。で、その連中は何を根拠に火山ガスが発生しなかったと言っているんです？
封鎖解除後ミステリーマニアがどっと押し寄せて UFO 説を補強するためにいろいろ調べたらしい。 で、連中の主張はこうだ。政府発表の火山ガス成分によるならば、硫化水素によって金属が腐食されたり、自然体系に大きなダメージが残るはずだ。にもかかわらず、稲見沢にはそういう痕跡が残っておらず、よって火山ガスが噴出したとは到底思えないと。もっともあれから20年も放置された村なんだ。そんな痕跡を発見できたかどうかは疑わしいな。
やはりつくづくインターネットというのは信用できませんね。で、まさか赤坂先輩はその怪しげな話を信じてるわけですか？
最初は信じなかったが、最近は俺もわからない。何割かは真実が含まれているかもしれないと思うようになっている。
赤坂先輩ともあろうお方が UFO 話を信じるんですか？
このスクラップ帳、これが本物の34号文書だとしたら、昭和58年6月25日にひなみ沢営林署に人質を取って籠城したひなみ沢大災害の混乱で長いこと行方不明だったが、近年大石さんの古い友人が原型の保存庫で発見したらしい。
Back then, Oishi thought Rena Ryugu was delusional. But after reading this again after the Great Hinamizawa disaster, some of the content seemed to hold vital clues. It's not the alien part that he was interested in, but her theory that an endemic disease of parasitic microbes in Hinamizawa was responsible for the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Of course, there's no proof that such microbes existed, so it still remains at a theoretical level.
大石さんの仮説なんだが、御三家が過去の信仰心を村に取り戻すために大昔の毒性の強い病原体を研究していたのは本当じゃないかって言うんだ。ひなみ沢大災害は実はその結果の失敗じゃないかってな。
This theory is also based on the theories and myths he found in the internet. The village clinic chief doctor died mysteriously right before the Great Hinamizawa disaster. A girl, Rika Furude, was brutally murdered on the night Rena Ryugu took the school hostage. There could have been an underground research lab beneath the village clinic, and Dr. Arie could have been forced to do microbiological research, but he couldn't live with his own sins and committed suicide. Rika Furude could have been brutally murdered in a sacrifice for some sort of ritual ceremony in the name of the Oyashiro-sama's revival. However, their experiment went wrong. Instead of the microbes being parasitic in the villagers, they became a killer virus, and they exterminated the entire village in one night.
ただのガス災害じゃないことは明白なんだ。ガスが湧く直前に一人の少女が最近テロを予告し、数人の村人が開始を遂げている。それをスクラップ帳にまとめた高野美代本人も含めてね。あれを偶然の予見不可能な災害だとするにはどうも腑に落ちない要素が少なくない。この34号文書を読めばそれらは明らかにはっきりしてくる。
じゃあひなみ沢大災害は自然災害ではなく最近テロ。
In the modern era, everyone in Japan knows about the shocking incident where a doomsday cult created a nerve gas, sarin, and unleashed it for the purposes of mass murder. But in the 80s, the idea of a single cult being able to carry out such an act of terrorism didn't even cross our minds.
その後の自衛隊の長い封鎖はその殺人ウイルスを調査するためではないかとささやかれているんだが、すっきりしないな。
UFO に乗った宇宙人がって話よりはカルト集団がって方が近年は信憑性がありますからね。
本当に UFO が墜落した可能性もあるかもしれないな。リュウグウ・レイナが 人質籠城時に出した要求の筆頭は、鬼ヶ淵沼の底には墜落した UFO の残骸があるから引き上げろというものだったらしい。
バカバカしい。
それがバカバカしいか調べたくても、見ろ。沼はコンクリートで数メートルの厚さで固められ、確かめる術もない。地質学的にはガスを防ぐ効果は何も期待できないはずのバカバカしい工事によってだ。
赤坂先輩がそれを立証するには、あとはここの住民の生き残りを見つけて、体内からその特殊な病原体ってやつを見つけ出すほかないんじゃ。
それも致命的だ。ひなみ沢大災害後のひなみ沢出身者に対する魔女狩りのせいで、今や出身者の存在は不明だ。彼らは名乗りなどあげまい。
Right after the disaster, some people who were from Hinamizawa started displaying erratic behavior. When they started dying mysteriously and committing suicide in strange ways, people got scared of them and chased them out of their neighborhoods. The government was practically useless in protecting their privacy at the time, so former residents of Hinamizawa lied about where they were from, and have kept it that way since.
じゃあお手上げじゃないですか。
それでも諦めないのが刑事魂ってもんだよ。あれが自然災害じゃなかったっていう状況証拠はいくらでもあるんだ。何か一つの具体的証拠が見つかれば、芋づる式に全てを白日のもとにさらせるかもしれない。
まああれから20年経過してますからね。真相はあまりに遠い闇の中かもしれません。
そうだな。21世紀の今頃になってここを訪れても何も分かりはしないのかもな。
What happened in Hinamizawa in June 1983? The only factual evidence I had was that Mio Takano mysteriously died and left her scrapbook predicting a bioterrorist attack. A young girl took a school hostage to make people listen to this prediction, but no one took it seriously. The chief doctor of the village clinic committed suicide. People believed that a little girl, Rika Furude, was a reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, and she was brutally murdered. What was the truth behind this scrapbook? Was it written to reveal a huge conspiracy? Or was it just a bunch of delusions written by an occult maniac? If the contents of the scrapbook were true, the disaster could have been avoided if we had heeded the warnings of one girl. If they weren't true, then who created the disaster to follow the scenario of the scrapbook? After the sarin nerve gas incident, the words mind control came into the spotlight. In contrast to brainwashing, which can easily force a person to commit certain acts in the short term, mind control takes a long time to gradually make a person believe that what he or she is doing or must do is the right thing to do, and to act upon it as if it were his or her own idea. It's a form of character alteration, which is a far more serious brainwashing. More serious than brainwashing. The cult behind the sarin gas incident induced fear and anxiety into its members through its revelations of doomsday. At the same time, they ordered them to do certain things as a means of salvation, and had them do so voluntarily. The formula was quite similar to how Rena Ryugu became a puppet of file number 13. 34 even. So does that mean that Rena Ryugu was mind-controlled by someone? Does that mean that the cult that mind-controlled her tried to cause the end of the world in order to increase the credibility of their teachings, just like the other cult did? Would that make file number 34 some sort of religious textbook for them? When I lose my grip on what's true and what's not, it sometimes makes me feel that someone might be laughing in amusement at this disaster. This scrapbook was like a script. It was a script for a tragedy that takes the lives of thousands of villagers in one night. It was a script for demons who laugh at that loss of human life. Someone wrote the script. Someone performed it. Someone watched the show and laughed. Dang it. What the heck happened in Hinamizawa in June 1983? Alright. So some interesting ideas. I do want to warn, just in case anyone here is not seen or played through Umineko, gonna go into some light spoilers. Nothing too heavy, but just something to keep in mind. So, I guess the idea for this is to figure out what's going on. Well, you know, what's the truth behind all of this? And my current thoughts right now are that I believe that in general most of the stories are false. There may be some element of truth to them. There's definitely something going on that connects them all, but I would say most of the stories are false. I think the thing with Akasaka, everything, maybe not everything, but I would say most of the things we've seen with him, especially anything that's, you know, after these 20 years have passed, I would say that's all true. As far as I can tell. Not that necessarily that the idea that the gas attack happened was true, but anything that he's personally been able to discern himself, I would say is true. You know, the notebook being his hand, that's obviously a true thing. The swamp being covered up by concrete, that's a true thing. So I would say all that's true, but everything else is, you know, speculation. Now, some interesting things to note. I would say this is the part where it comes into a little bit like Umineko, is that this is probably, you know, a series of stories, none of which I say are necessarily true, but they're all being gone through or watched or, you know, somebody's like, you know, observing them, so to speak. I believe that's probably Rika. Or maybe somebody else, but I believe Rika's heavily entwined with this. And so she's sort of like the observer, and I think it's sort of like how Umineko was, that they're viewing these different stories, and it kind of looked like they're trying to find the one where they can, you know, break the cycle, break out of whatever's currently happening. Maybe they're trying to change the past, change the world, I don't know. But it's sort of the case where, while it's uncertain what happened to the past, there's still mystery and it could still be changed, so to speak. Once there's concrete evidence and people find the truth, it can't be changed. But right now, it's still the sort of amalgamous past that nobody really understands, and maybe they want to change it, or Rika wants to change it, or somebody wants to change it in order to change what happened, since it hasn't been set in stone yet. They don't know what happened. That's my thought on that. Miyo Takano's scrapbooks are also very interesting, in that, you know, it seemed to have predicted this disaster. I think that's important for some, you know, in some way that's very important. I wonder also if her other stories have any backing to them of any sort. We haven't really explored any of the other stories in the scrapbook. I have no idea if they're important or not, but they did mention there were other kind of crazy stories in there. I wonder if any of the other ones are, you know, possibly stories that we have or, you know, haven't seen yet. Who knows? It's an interesting theory, though. And it definitely seems like there's a little bit of conflict between the story arc that we dealt with Akasaka, and when he had his own chapter, and then with this a little bit, because it seems like when I just went through this bit right here, that Akasaka was very aware of the history of the story that we just went through. Now, of course, all of that could be entirely false. You know, it could be another story that's not real, so to speak. Not a true end, if that makes more sense. I don't know. But it's definitely something that I was thinking about as we were going through there, especially when he got towards the end and he's like, you know, who wrote this script? You know, somebody's watching it. Somebody's, you know, eating popcorn, laughing at it. I think there's some sort of observer to this. Some sort of cosmic outside of the realm of the story observer. Maybe they're a character in it like Rika, but they're also, existing outside of it where they can go from one story to the next. So maybe, there's some sort of... that leads me to believe that there's some sort of observer who's watching it from an outside perspective. And this scrapbook is basically, the script to the story. And that any of the other stories in there could be scripts for other stories. I guess that's where I'm trying to lead with that. Very interesting. Alright. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, don't tell me, no spoilers, but let me know what you think of any of those ideas, or if you have anything you want to add. So let's move on to the staff room. Hello, my name is Ryugu 07. Hope you enjoyed playing Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 6, Tsumi Horobashi. There are several themes I wanted to write in this chapter, but I'd like to talk about one of them here. It's about the denial of murder. This is something I had to write sooner or later, since this is a novel about serial murders. There are two means that youngsters in particular use these days to solve problems, which are murder and suicide. When we feel stress, we choose to either get rid of the source of the stress, or to get away from it. Let's say you're bullied by a kid at school. You have two ways to solve the problem. Murder. You can either get rid of the kid from your current environment, murder, or get away from the environment itself, the suicide. Usually bullies are stronger and have their underlings, so you don't stand a chance alone to get rid of them. It's also not easy to switch classes or quit school, so you can't easily get away from the situation. As a result, the situation gets worse day by day, and your stress urges you to solve the problem immediately. And you come up with murder or suicide as easy solutions. If suicide is considered defeat, you'd want to consider murder. I feel like there are many people who think that way. However, if you actually committed a murder, it wouldn't be easy to pay for the sin. I believe murderers know that well too. But you really hate the bully who pushed you to the limit, where you have no choice but to kill. So with a determination that turns your entire life upside down, you commit murder. But if you have such strong determination, there have to be more ways to take than opting for murder, which should be the last resort. You can talk to your friends. If that doesn't work, you can talk to your family. If that doesn't work, you can talk to your teacher. If that doesn't work, then what? There have to be more ways. If you have the determination to give up on your life by committing murder, there have to be more ways. Our modern era is better than any era before it. There are many hotlines that you can call to talk to someone. Even if you don't have any friends or family, there are many places you can go to for help. The people who will answer the phone aren't amateurs. They're volunteers, but they're also veterans who have worked as social workers or juvenile counselors for a long time. I can assure you they have more social experience and passion than your parents do. People who work to help people for free can't be bad people. If you feel like you have no choice but to kill the bully or commit suicide, please try to call those hotlines. People who think it's useless to talk to others usually haven't really talked to anyone. Have the courage to call. There will be someone you can completely rely on at the other end of the line. Don't keep it to yourself. Talk to someone. Ryugu 07 wrote such a long story just to tell you this. He must be a very poor writer. So, Ryugu 07 wants to talk to you all, rather than worrying all by himself. How can I write even more entertaining stories? Bitter laugh. 7th expansion, Ryugu 07. So an interesting turn into don't commit suicide and don't kill others around you. I wonder if, I don't think the staff room things really have anything, like, particularly pushing you towards any important storylines or any important story points. I think they're just kind of something to think about. So I don't know if that, I don't think that has any real relevance to the story as a whole, but anyway, I don't think I have a whole lot more to say. I thought, I liked the chapter. Thought it was cool ending. Definitely a lot of buildup right there at the end. I wasn't really expecting the come from behind victory to be take hostage the entire classroom and then have a last second explosion avoidance. But I pretty much said what I wanted to say. I'm not entirely certain that there was, a big volcanic gas eruption that killed everyone in the village. I think that there could be more to it. And like Akasaka is dealing with, there's definitely a lot of suspicious things that don't quite add up, don't quite make sense, that lead you a little bit more towards the idea that maybe something weird did happen. Maybe there was like a weird, virus or bacteria that happened. And it's weird that Mio Takano was able to predict that. But at the same time, maybe there's another explanation. I do also find it very strange that Mio Takano always dies off pretty quickly in the way that never really gives... She either isn't a part of the story, or if she is, she gets killed off really quickly. Usually near wherever things start getting interesting. Which means she never gets an opportunity to really explain what's going on. Actually, there was one time when she didn't. It was that time, the one where Keiichi actually did the killing. And had to bury, what's-his-face in the woods? And then when he went back to check the body... or to try to dig it up, and it wasn't there? I think, I can't remember exactly when that happened, but he starts, taking his bike back, or something like that, and then, I think it was Mio Takano that picked him up, in the car. He loaded the bike in the back, and then she starts driving him back and starts talking with him. Right. Did she get killed off after that? I can't quite remember. Not that there's a whole lot of relevance, but just trying to point out the fact that she generally gets killed off pretty quickly, so she doesn't ever get to, give her story or give any information on what's going on, generally. So I'm wondering if she's playing a bigger part of the story than we actually realize. Maybe more her scrapbooks than herself, but since the scrapbooks came from her, it's still, playing a pretty big part of the story. But yeah, that was a good section. I liked it. So like I mentioned previously, I'm going to go buy and download the 7th chapter soon. And it looks like that the PS3 patch with the voices and visuals has already been done on, I think it was GitHub or whatever it was. So I can download those and get those all prepared. Can anyone tell me how many chapters there actually are in the story? Because I'm trying to avoid spoilers, obviously, so I haven't really dug too deep into Wikipedia pages or anything like that to try to figure it out. But everything I've seen, when you look at Wikipedia, they show all the spin-off games and all the, all the novels and all the console stuff and everything. And so it's really hard to tell, where does this story end? I'm a little confused on that still. So if anyone could let me know, I'm a little curious, that would be great. And other than that, give it a little bit of time and we'll get started with the 7th chapter, which I don't know what the name is off the top of my head, but I will tell you next time. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time for some more Higurashi. Bye!